A lot of people have asked me what arbitration is and what mediation is, and I've seen a lot of people use those terms interchangeably. So they are very different things. Arbitration is done by independent, for-profit private companies, and essentially it is a process that you can go through instead of a litigation process. For example, if there's a breach of contract, someone could sue the defendant in court and it would be litigated before a judge, ultimately before a jury. That is what we call civil litigation. Well, what arbitration does is it takes that process and removes it from the courtroom and puts it in the hands of a private company, a private arbitrator who will act as a judge, but is not a judge, and will hear the case and rule on the case and administer an arbitration award. The benefit to arbitration is it can be much quicker, it can be much less expensive, and ultimately it can be a better process for all involved. But there's some very significant drawbacks. Discovery, or the ability to get information from the other side, is very limited in arbitration. So sometimes you won't know exactly the strength of your own case or the strength of the other side's case. But that's arbitration. Mediation is a very different thing. Mediation is with a neutral person, a person who is not a judge, who will help facilitate a resolution to a dispute. It's not binding, there's no rules of procedure, it's essentially a private dispute resolution mechanism. A lot of people think that mediation will not be productive. I've heard this all the time. Mediation's going to be a waste of time. Well, I've heard from many mediators that about 85% or so of people go into mediation thinking it's a waste of time. But at the same time, something around the neighborhood of 93% of mediations will end in a resolution. So most people think it's a waste of time, but in most cases it's not. It's a very useful tool to resolve civil disputes. And that is the difference between civil litigation in court, mediation, and arbitration.